lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop, welcoming you back to a two-part video. Now, we're going to go right into a kitchen counter thrift haul in just a second. It's a small one. I only have a few pieces of Pyrex and a couple examples of mid-century glass. So I'm going to show you that first. But then I'm going to show you a lamp that I purchased at a flea market this morning. Yep, it's 97 degrees, and I still got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive 1 hour to get to this flea market. And boy, I was out of there by 9:30, I'll tell you that. But I did come home with a wonderful, guess what, emerald light lamp. I have loved emerald light lamps and have known them and bought and sold a few of them. And this one I found this morning is a, you're going to have to stay tuned. If you'd like to know more about emerald light lamps, there's a wonderful know-it-all website, tell-it-all, know-it-all. Fantastic. It's called emeraldlight.com. You'll find many examples of Belova lamps and some of the other lamps that were made by McFadden at the Emerald Light Lamp Company. The example that I have is from the 1920s. Now, I did kind of film myself rewiring it. I didn't do, the filming didn't come out like I wanted to. The footage is pretty bad, but I'm going to show you a little bit anyway. It's not my best work. So please forgive me with that. You've seen me rewire lamps before, so it's really no big deal. Okay, thrift haul first, and then a wonderful old 1920s emerald light lamp. Thanks for watching, everyone. Okay, since this is a two-part video, I shall waste no time. Most of what you see here is, of course, mid-century. We've got a lot of Pyrex and other things that you would find in the average American home in the 1950s, 60s, and hanging around in the 70s. I always grab Pyrex lids. They're great for replacements and easy to ship. Here's a big 474. I've got to get some tape residue off of that. And I've got three little 470s over here, I think. Once again, yeah, these are 470s. If you'd like, I always say this, better pictures, dimensions, complete descriptions of condition and everything, just check out the Old Curiosity Shop. That's my eBay store, and the link, if I remember to put it in there, is usually in the description box down below each video. Now for the bathroom wall, three little fishes in an itty-bitty pool. Did-em, dat-em, wad-em, chew. Now you gotta be old, or somebody like me, to know where that comes from. Kay Kaiser and his orchestra, Three Little Fishes from the 1940s. You remember that, you old folks? I remember it because I like old music. I think these are that Miller Studio, whatever. There's no mark on them, maker's mark on them. They're in remarkably good condition. Okay, so there they are. I think that's the 70s version rather than anything much older than that. This one goes all the way back to 1962 because it's got the date on it. And this one appears to be a little more valuable and a little bit harder to find. Very three-dimensional, or, you know, absolutely three-dimensional. A lot of information here. Discus, and then the number that's been put on there. And then we've got hand-painted, 1962, NAPCO. National Pottery Company, I think is what NAPCO stands for. And then, well, maybe we'll see it. I think that's what it is, National Pottery Company. So it's made in Japan and then brought into the United States and marketed there by this company in Bedford, Ohio. So a lot of information, including 1962. And it seems to be that there was a whole series of these. Now that's in excellent condition. So very good. And then some mid-century glass. That's the correct color for mid-century, but you know, they're reproducing so much stuff, and I'm just not, I have almost no books on mid-century glass, and I'm trying to learn more about mid-century glass. If you're new to the Old Curiosity Shop, and I know we do have some new subscribers, welcome, 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 I'm thrilled. I don't just buy and resell anything, so I love antiques. You don't hear the word collectibles anymore. Everybody says vintage, 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 but used to be in the old days, vintage was clothing and wine and musical instruments. But anyway, antiques and collectibles, and really from the 1950s and back. I dip into the 60s and the 70s once in a while. So, you know, if I'm out thrifting and you see me walk right by Fritz and Floyd, there's nothing wrong with Fritz and Floyd or longer burger baskets. I just don't buy and sell newer items. And I know Etsy and other places say vintage is 20 years old, but I guess I'm old antique kind of school where it's got to be a little older than that. Anyway, that's probably more than you wanted to know, but what you're seeing here is not my specialty. I do not specialize in mid-century, but it's popular. I do like it. I don't collect it, and I'm learning more about it. So you guys can really help me a lot, because I am, as I said, pretty much a novice when it comes to this kind of thing right here. I like the 1920s and 30s Art Deco and before. Now that I rambled on and on about all that, this piece appears to be a piece that is period from that mid-century era, but that one piece I'm not sure about. Without a doubt here, we've got this mid-century glass, 60s, 70s, and I always just say, because I never really know for sure, and people have told me L.E. Smith has petals and Viking doesn't, and blah, 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 and I can't remember. So in my listings, I usually just say, you know, I'm not sure, kind of in the style of, kind of looks like either L.E. Smith or Viking or you know, one of those other companies that made mid-century glass. And so this one really looks very Amberina here. And for the most part, my good friends, I am a no chip, no crack kind of a guy. I really steer clear of damage unless I do make a few exceptions once in a while. And sometimes I buy things and I don't realize they're damaged, but I don't do sick glass and I don't like chips or cracks, so these are in good condition. And really heavy glass, again, one of those makers. That is almost always Westmoreland. Oh my gosh, it's like 120 degrees, and my brain is fried. I've been Westmoreland or Imperial usually, and boy, this is probably the biggest milk glass swung vase. I know my light is too bright. Hold on. This one is actually marked WG, so we know it is Westmoreland glass. Grapes and all. Okay, it's a great big, that dude is, what, 15 inches tall? I can't even I have to get the camera way back here so you can see it. In excellent condition. I know it's going to be expensive to ship it because it's going to be in a 20-inch box, but, let me back up. Yeah, that's about 12 inches right there, so 13, 14, 15, 16. That's about a 16 or a 17-inch swung milk glass vase with the grapes on the bottom. And then here's a mid-century vase, which I haven't even... That's not listed yet. I'll have it listed... Well, I'm going to list it after the video is over, and then I might know who made it, because it only has... 986 on the bottom, and looks like the Roman numeral 3, I don't know. So I'm not so sure about that, but it's got a nice glaze on it, and it has that wonderful mid-century turquoise pottery look to it. So I do like that. This isn't missing anything. Remember when I got it, I said, oh shucks, it might be missing its innards. But this is just, I guess it's just for boiling water for tea. The coffee pots that go on the stove have glass innards, okay, right? In Pyrex, there's a glass basket for the coffee, all of that. But this little guy came just like this. So it is all glass, and it's just a stovetop Pyrex, I guess, teapot, yes? Okay. So, and it said, I don't know how many, got Pyrex on the bottom, and so heat your hot water up in that for your tea, but there was no coffee basket that went down inside of that. This almost looks unused. Look at that. That is just crystal clear and ready for you. Then in the back, I think those are called the Hostess. Now I know they're missing their lids, and I'm not going to pick them up, but you've got the large one and then the next size. They did have lids, those Pyrex Hostess dishes. I think that's what they are. And then 3 refrigerator dishes. Now the one in the middle, this is from the primary set, the blue and the red, we know those. And you're getting the old style lids. Isn't that right? I always get my lids mixed up, but when there's a clear alley right down the center, isn't that the older lid? Huh? The newer lid has ribs all the way across? Or do I have that the other way around? Don't listen to me. I think that's the older style lid. And that might be the newer. Hey, you Pyrex folks know. I don't have to worry. You guys know. So this is from the primary set, the blue and the red, and it's the old, I think that's also the older back stamp on there. Is that not right? The back stamp that comes out in the, what, the early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. And then, but that's not primary there, this yellow one. And the Pyrex people know whether they call that town and country, orange yellow, sunflower yellow, harvest yellow, I don't know. I think it's called town and country. But it's certainly not the bright banana primary yellow color. And that has the ribs all the way across the lid. Okay, so there we go, some Pyrex and some mid-century. All of it. All right, it's all listed in the Old Curiosity Shop, which means it's up for auction. Now, don't go away. Well, you can go and fill your cup up with whatever you were drinking. I'll be right back. We are going to rewire an antique lamp, and it's going to be phenomenal. Stay tuned. Let's take a look at what we've got here on the workbench. Yeah, it's the kitchen counter. It's too hot in the garage. Fresh from the flea market. This was an early morning purchase that I made today. Yes, today. Got up at 4:30, was at the flea market by 6 o'clock. And just as the man was lifting this out of the box, I had a nice long conversation with him. And I managed to purchase this lamp for $45 and was thrilled to do so. I'll cut to the chase and tell you that if I sell it, it will sell for over $200. We'll see how much more than $200. All right, it is in pieces, and this is how he had it. It was in a box, and I saw the base come out, and I immediately recognized it as an emeraldite base. And he had all the bits and bobs, and I held my breath until the original shade came out. Let's take a look at the original glass shade quickly. There's not much left here of a label. He didn't know what it was, so I did tell him about it. At this point in the 1920s, the design, the slip shade is a different design, and instead of the metal clip being on the back with an actual plate, nameplate on it, we now have a cutout on the side. And it fits down in its holder much different than say the 1912 lamps. Anyway, we'll zoom in here. There's not much left, but the word on the top is emeraldite. We can see it's mostly gone, this decal. And we can just barely see patented November 22nd, 1920. Who knows? I have not looked up, well, there's no patent date on this, and I could research it and find the patent, but sometime in the 1920s. Not really that important to me, because anyone who knows antique lamps and has been in this business for a long time, you recognize these wonderful cased glass emerald light shades. They had a patent on this particular cutout here, and so you know it's an emerald light. What's interesting about this particular lamp here is you could get this in two finishes, brushed brass, or you could get it in what's called statuary bronze. And that cost you an extra $1.50 in the 1920s to have the statuary bronze finish. And that's what we have right here. This, I'm not going to say it's rare. Much harder to find. Probably 80% of these lamps that you see are going to have a brass base. It's going to be brass like the handle, like the standard, like these parts. But to find a base that's finished in statuary bronze, and it is a patina, very unusual. So I'm thrilled about that. And this is an applied patina here on this metal base. These other pieces right here will hold the shade in place. Now you can see what someone attempted to rewire this with the brand. It looks like they took an extension cord and you know, cut the business end off of it. That's not appropriate. This is just some old cheap brass plated pull chain socket, which looks would have looked horrible on this, and this was all in the box that he had. What am I going to do? Well, you know me, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing correctly. As you know, I save old lamp parts, and I've got a nice old 1920s Fat Boy Hubble right here. This is completely authentic to the period and what would have been on a lamp like this from this age. And an authentic pull chain here. You see, even us picky people like me are going to know the difference. That is a 1920s pull chain. That is not. That looks horrible. This is appropriate. And so I'm thrilled to put an old socket on. And we're going to get this vinyl cord off of here, this plastic cord off, and replace it. We'll get refocused here with a wonderful gold silk cord, which is appropriate, with a nice style old-fashioned Bakelite plug here, which would be similar to what was on it when it was new. So this is what we're going to do. I know I'm having focusing problems and lighting problems here. I will get the camera somewhere. I'm going to hook it up so it's stationary and I'm not jiggling all around. Let's get this lamp rewired back together again and have it look again like the 1920s. A sideline, I bought this. This was in the same box. This is in pretty rough shape. But here's an old original cloth cord from the 1920s. Yeah. And a nice old Bakelite plug. And a nice green metal lamp. Now this would clip onto the book that you're reading in bed. That's why this cord is so long, so that you can get to your nearest outlet. And we've got on here book light. Okay, so this is a light that clips on the back of a book. And we can certainly tell by the green color and the cord and everything that it is right circa 1930, late 20s into the 30s. So I'm going to be restoring that some other time. All right, let's get this camera stationary and we'll get this lamp finished in no time. And today's August heatwave snack is some iced tea in a spaghetti string rubberized glass here. You remember these, don't you, from the 1960s? And I'm noshing on some wonderful strawberries just like this. No sugar needed. That's That's summertime right there. In an anchor hocking dish in the Manhattan pattern. All right, let's get busy. Alright, I've got the cloth cord snaked all the way through, and it went in a lot easier than I thought that it was going to. Sometimes they're a pain in the neck, but it's because I did not strip it yet. If you strip it ahead of time, the wire has a tendency to get stuck in there. You know, it won't go around the corners. And sometimes you can lube the end of this up a little bit. You know, put a little, whatever you got, a little Crisco, a little soap, a little whatever, you know, whatever you've got on hand. It won't hurt the wire at all. And it'll just snake its way through there. But now we've got it, and so we're going to go ahead and wire this socket up. Now, I guess most of you already know getting these things apart can be a real mess. If you don't, you got to look for the word press. Can you see that right there? It says press, and we're going to press it. All right, I've picked back enough of that silk covering there to expose the wires, and now I'll just take my cutters here and strip off some insulation. Oh, I don't know, that's about is that ½ an inch? About ½ an inch. Now twist it clockwise so it doesn't spread out on you when you put it on the screw. And let's see, let's get the other one. There we go. Okay, so I've just used taken my insulation off. This old, I've had this forever. There's a tool for every job. All right. Okay. Now, make a candy cane or a shepherd's crook, whatever you like. Like that. You see there? And again, we're not using a polarized, oh, hold on. Well, there it is, my $45 lamp, all back together again, and now looking like $1 million. The wonderful patina here on the bottom, again, this statuary bronze finish, which is hard to find. A wonderful old authentic pull chain, the shade is all back in place. Got this beautiful silk, gold silk cord on here, which I think looks fantastic. Be back all the way up. Well, I guess we ought to turn it on, right? There it is. And we'll spin it back around here where you can see it. Fully adjustable, so that this can sit on a piano. Now, it's not a piano lamp. These were sold as desk lamps. And it can be altered to be on the top of an old upright piano or on a roll-top desk. And they did advertise some of these in the early days as roll-top desk lamps. But that's a specific lamp that actually has a horizontal bracket that comes out this way and doesn't necessarily adjust like this, but you can adjust it here and have it almost go all the way out, cantilever out horizontally, and then you just adjust your shade. Look how graceful this shade is. To have you take a look at the socket underneath, you can see it looks so much better. I think you can see it looks so much better with an authentic old brass socket up there rather than that cheap thing that we have in the box. So I'm very pleased to get it back into its original state. These are very, very easy to tell from all of those knockoff reproductions that were, well, they weren't really reproductions, but Banker's lamps became enormously popular again. Remember in the 1980s? Let's turn this light off. Banker's lamps were all over the place. Everybody had one in the 1980s. There's no way you can confuse the 1980s Banker's lamps from an original old emeraldite lamp. There's just no comparison. Now let's go see what it looks like on some antique furniture. Now I want you to see the beauty of the design of a lamp like this, as I said, is that it can be cantilevered out, if you will, over a upright piano, over a desk, a roll-top desk. So I've got it tilted all the way down so that we have light on the bookshelf. Now that's not how I plan on using the lamp, but it has that functionality just so that you can see. Let's put it upright. There it is, a good-looking lamp for the office or the home. I think this lamp has found a new home. What say you? It's a 1920s emeraldite.